What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, I feel like I start every comparison video like this, but we're going to be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 and actually comparing it to one of the older predecessors of this phone, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Now, believe it or not, there's actually a lot of similarities between both of these phones. Now, this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 that we're comparing the Note 8 to, and not the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, which is a bigger variant of that phone. Now, you might be looking at both these phones and you might be like, why are you even comparing them? Because the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is a way better phone. It has way better specs, all this stuff. But like I've said before, just because a phone is newer doesn't necessarily mean the older phones are way worse. But there's also some characteristics of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 that are actually better and then the Samsung Galaxy Note 10. Now that's kind of subjective, I do understand. Also, newer phones tend to have better parts within them overall, but I don't know. I've been looking at the Note 10 and it's such a perplexing situation because in a lot of ways there's some downgrades going to the Note 10. Now, I feel like I've started off these comparisons kind of bad because I feel like I'm bashing the Note 10. I like the Note 10. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it, but I have to be honest, and like I said, these are all my opinions. You guys can form your own opinions, but looking at the front, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, the older version, actually came out in 2017, so about 2 years ago. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 obviously just came out pretty recently. They both have 6.3-inch screens on the front, but as you can see, the Note 8 does have the bezels on the top and the bottom. It's still really not even that thick of bezels, like compared to what we have now. There's not really a notch, there's just the top and bottom bezel, which isn't bad at all. And I'm telling you right now, it's coming from somebody who owned the Galaxy Note 8, it's not a bad bezel situation at all. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10, however, pretty much got rid of most of the bezel. There's still a very, very small amount of bezel at the top and the bottom, but you can see that we have the hole punch display, and that hole punch is directly in the center, which is cool. I kind of like it. It's also kind of weird at the same time. I honestly am so indifferent about it. It's not even funny. I was so accustomed to the Samsung Galaxy S series, like the S10, the S10 Plus, how that was in the corner and this one is in the center. And honestly, if I had to say it, I think I like the S10s better, but it is what it is. I guess it's all preference. And like I said, that one also has a 6.3-inch display, but here's the interesting thing. On the front of both the panels, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 had a 1440p display with 522 pixels per inch. That was a Super AMOLED display. However, on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, you actually have a 1080p display with 400 pixels per inch. Now, in my opinion, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell a difference between a 1080p and 1440p panel. All I can tell you is I feel like the Note 8 panel was better overall. I know that was a Super AMOLED versus Dynamic AMOLED, but that screen technically is sharper. It has a higher resolution, whereas on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, I mean, yes, you're kind of removing some of the bezel, so I guess it looks cooler, but I think in practical use, I like the Note 8 better. Just the thought and ease of mind that you have a better panel on your display is, I guess, in my opinion, better off than having a 1080p panel. And here's the crazier thing. I mean, this is 2019 we're in, why do we still have 1080p panels? I understand for like the super bottom, like mid-tier phones, like a Samsung Galaxy, like S10e, like I understand that because that is also like $200 to $300 cheaper than the Note 10. But for this phone that's like almost $1,000, like it is pretty much $1,000 phone when it's all said and done, including taxes. Like it makes no sense in my opinion to put that on the phone like this. Like the Note 9 had a 1440p display, the Note 8 had a 1440p display. Bro, the Galaxy Note 4 had a 1440p display. Why would they put a 1080p display on this thing? It makes no sense, but that's just my opinion. On the back, you can see that we have a dual camera setup on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and a triple camera setup on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10. Now I'll get into those in a second. I'm not going to go too in deep in this video though. I'll hopefully make a separate video talking about the cameras and kind of going more in detail. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I guess we'll see. Now, in terms of the software support, they both have Samsung One UI right now, which is really, really cool. But the fact of the matter is that either way you look at it, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is going to last longer than the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 in terms of software, even probably in terms of hardware as well, if you think about it. So I wouldn't really like pick up a Note 8 if you're trying to get the longevity of a phone. I mean, it's kind of subjective though. If you keep it on stock, yes, the Note 10 will outlast it. You're still going to get security updates for a little bit of time as well on top of the regular OS updates, so that's cool. But also you have to keep this in mind. Third-party developer support and custom ROMs is a real thing. You guys need to start utilizing them in my opinion. If you have like a Galaxy Note 4, Galaxy Note 5, like just flash a custom ROM on it. I know it's not as easy as I make it sound, but that's always a practical way of lengthening the time span of your phone and your lifespan of your phone. So with the Note 8, technically speaking, there's probably going to be more ROMs out for it right now than the Note 10. Obviously, I don't even think there's a root out for the Note 10. But with third-party developers, you can go and flash like an Android Q ROM, probably if there's ever one developed for the Note 8. On the Note 10, obviously you can do that same thing too, but right now there's a bigger development community for the Note 8 than the Note 10, mostly because not that many people own the Note 10. So I'd really recommend you guys, if you're keeping it stock, the Note 10 is a better choice, but the Note 8, in my opinion, isn't that bad in terms of custom ROM support. So that kind of covers up everything I want to talk about in terms of software and the outside of these phones. Now let's go ahead and talk about the power of both of them, and this is pretty much how I'll sum it down. I'll just tell you the specs of both of them, and I'll break down, I guess, the speed and everything between them as well. So the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 540 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, so a newer chipset. It also has an octa-core CPU, but those cores are clocked higher. It has the Adreno 640 GPU, and this one has 8 gigs of RAM, so this has an additional 2 gigs of RAM inside of it. So right then and there, I mean, I can definitely tell you the Note 10, not only is it going to be more powerful because of the chipset inside of it, and also the additional RAM and all of that, but the display is also lower resolution, so that means there's less pixels to push. So technically speaking, your Samsung Galaxy Note 10 will definitely be more powerful than the Note 8. I'm not trying to say that the Note 8 is going to be more powerful. I'm pretty sure that's not the case at all. But what I will tell you though is that when I was using my Samsung Galaxy Note 8, I found that phone to be an extremely fast device for the time it was released, and kind of considering everything, said and done, and the price I paid for it. The Samsung Galaxy Note 8, in my opinion, if you're not comparing these side by side, you are not going to notice a crazy difference at all, in my opinion. This is basically how I sum it down to, dude. The Note 8, every time I open an app, every time I try to multitask, whatever the case was, I can do that so easily. I feel like 8 gigs of RAM, 12 gigs of RAM is awesome, and the more the merrier. But I feel like for a 6 gig phone, I mean, it's not bad in my opinion. So handling apps in the background and holding them out and then opening them up later, like that's not a bad thing at all. Like I've totally found that to be okay. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10, is going to be that on the next level. I mean, yes, it's faster, it's better, it's stronger, but I don't think like just because that phone is way faster means that the Note 8 is like unusable or like super slow. Like that's not the case at all. If I had to sum it down, yes, the Note 10 is a faster device, but the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 without a doubt can still hold its own, and I have so much respect for the Note 8. So I think I might have confused people a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is, yes, the Note 10 is a faster device, but I still think the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is still a good device. Like I don't think it's slow at all. Hopefully that kind of summed it up for you guys. Now, moving on to the camera sensors. Now I hit on them a little bit. I guess I'll hit on them a little bit more. The Samsung Galaxy Note 8, like I said, a dual camera setup. You have two 12 megapixel sensors on the back. That camera can shoot 4K videos, and you have a lot of settings within that specific phone itself. I mean, you don't really need overkill when it comes to these kind of phones because the software on these phones is so good. And like I always found Note phones to have very, very good cameras. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has a triple camera setup, two 12 megapixel sensors, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor that can actually do 4K to 60 frames per second, which is really cool. And like I stated before, like obviously the Note 10 is the better camera here. Like I'm not trying to say the Note 8 is better at all. The Note 10 is very, very good, not even in terms of just the hardware itself, but the software as well. I feel like going from the Note 8 to the Note 10, they actually kind of updated their software a bit. You have zoom in audio capability, which is really, really cool. I never even thought about that. And a lot of other cool little features like that as well, kind of sprinkled in throughout the software of the camera app. The Note 8, in my opinion, is still very, very good. And like I said, man, like if the Note 10's camera was a 10 out of 10, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8's camera probably like a 8.5 out of 10 for me. Like I don't think there's that big of a difference. Even for someone like me, like it might look like I'm so technical and this and that, but like I'm really not. Literally with the cameras, I look at the phone and I'm like, is it a good camera? Is it a good photo? That's all I care about. Like I look at it practically because I'm not a photographer. I'm not a huge like image person, so I just look at the phone, I look at the cameras, I'm like, it's good. I'll let you guys kind of decide on that, but without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10's camera is probably better, but the Note 8's camera is still very good. Now, interestingly enough, in terms of the battery life and more so the battery size, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 had a 3300 mAh battery, you had wireless charging, you had cool things like that, which is kind of a given, all phones have wireless charging now. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 technically does have a bigger battery, so you have a 3500 mAh battery on the Note 10, so comparing those phones right there and then and there, I will probably give the edge to the Note 10 without a doubt, not only because of the battery, but also the lower resolution screen. There's less pixels on the screen, so overall, the Note 10 will have better battery life. But here's the other thing. The Note 10 does have reverse wireless charging, so you can go and charge up the Note 8 from a Note 10, but you can't do that vice versa. So that's a really cool thing for the Note 10. Another thing to note is that if you're going to pick up a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, most probably that battery has depreciated and degraded a little bit. So it's probably not at that full 3300 milliamp anymore. It's probably at like 3000 or even worse than that. Hopefully that's not the case, but it could happen. You know, when a phone is 2 years old, batteries do degrade, and it just happens with every phone. 2 years from now, the Note 10's battery is going to degrade. So that kind of sums up everything mainly I wanted to hit on. Some other crucial points I wanted to say. They both have S Pens. Technically speaking, the Note 10s is more advanced or whatever. I don't even know what that means, but they both get the job done. I think they're both very, very cool little features. The biggest thing I would say between both of these phones, other than what I already called off, is that the Note 8 does have a micro SD card slot, where the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 does not have any sort of camera or SD card slot at all. It has a camera, obviously, it doesn't have an SD card slot. So that's kind of an annoying thing, honestly. They put it on the Note 10 Plus, which is super, like, that was so unnecessary. They should have just put it on the Note 10 as well. I don't know why they did that. They were just trying to do some weird stuff there, but without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 does kind of have an advantage there and a plus point. So what I'll tell you is this, okay? Without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is the better phone, even though it lacks a micro SD card slot, whatever. The Note 8 also has a headphone jack. I just want to get that out of the way, but I don't really think too many people care about that. But yes, without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is the better phone. But I want to say that the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, I've been seeing these go for like $300 something. Like I've seen these go for super, super low prices. Like even like 300, I think I've seen some from like 250 to 300. Like these things have depreciated and degraded quite a bit in terms of the price point. So what I'll tell you is that if you're in the market, the Galaxy Note 8 is still a very, very good phone. I don't think that phone is going anywhere. It's a solid option. Yes, the Note 10 is a better phone, but I don't think it's worth like 4 times the amount that you would pay for a Note 10 than what you would get from a Note 8. Like, yes, it's a better phone, but I don't even think it's like twice as good of a phone. Like, it's definitely better. But if you're trying to get the best value per dollar, I would probably pick up a Note 8 or even a Note 9. I think the Note 10 is a great phone, but I think that price point is just way too high. If it was like 700, I think I would have been recommending it a lot more. I would even recommend getting a Note 10 Plus over the Note 10. But right now, how I see it, I would probably pick up a used Samsung Galaxy Note 8 or a used Samsung Galaxy Note 9. And then in a couple months or even a year from now, pick up a Note 10, because those are going to degrade like crazy. Those prices, I'm telling you, like literally within like, what month is it? August? By like October or November, those are going to be selling for like 600, 500 easy. I'm telling you right now. So you'll see less depreciation in the price from a Note 8 than you will see on a Note 10. So you can even resell the Note 8 later. But I'll find the cheapest Note 8s, Note 9s, and Note 10s on Amazon. I'll link them straight in the description below so you guys can get them from straight from there. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.